Hello again, everyone. Let us continue our discussion on contracts. So basically, our topic for today is about the objects of contracts, starting from 1347. But before we're gonna deal on that, we'll just have a brief review, have all a sort of summary kung ano po yung natutunan natin previously when it comes to the to contract. So we've known that a contract wherein there is a meeting of the minds between two persons, one binds himself with respect to the other to give something or to render some service. Meron po tayo mga essential elements sa contract na without which masasabi natin na there could be no contract. So hindi po pwedeng mawala yung consent, object, tsaka cause. Where our second topic is about the object. But another important thing as well na I'd like to emphasize is that yun po yung atin pong stages ng contract. So ang stages natin ay yung generation. Ito yung sa part ng negotiation or bargaining sa contract, diba? So, may part tayo ng perfection at saka yung sinasabi nating sa perfection naman, yun yung parties na nagka-come to agree as to the terms of the contract, diba? And then when it comes to the consummation, well, it is the stage wherein yun na, nagkakaroon na po tayo ng performance as agreed upon in the contract, diba? Another thing that I'd like to highlight is when it comes to the characteristics of contracts, which is basically spread in the different provisions starting from I think it's 1306 onwards ba? So, ayun po, ano po yung mga characteristics ng contracts? We have obligatory force ng contracts, diba? That is embodied under 1308, 1315, 1356. Yun yung mga nagsasabi. Ano ba yung obligatory force ng contract? Ito yung na ang contract, once it is perfected, it shall be obligatory between the contracting parties. So, characteristics as well na ang contract ay may mutuality, merong autonomy, may relativity, yun yung mga, may consensuality, those characteristics are very important. It's because, as we go along, from time to time, we'll touch on that and we'll recall on that because it's very material, when it comes to our discussions of the different kinds of contracts as well as the essential requisites of the contract. So when we say mutuality, contracts as mutuality, it means to say that the contract must bind both the parties. So it means to say it cannot be left on the will of one of the contracting parties. So hindi po pwede yun po pwedeng the validity of which or fulfillment of which may be left to one or to a third person, pero hindi siya magiging binding unless it is communicated to both of the contracting parties, or it could be as well yung validity may be left by chance po, pwede yun. It is an exception on mutuality. And then autonomy ng contracts, well, you know this one as yung freedom to contract natin under 1306, diba? Or the liberty to contract by the parties. It means to say that you could establish whatever stipulations, clauses, terms, conditions as you deem it convenient, diba? Ang limitation lang natin ay yung principle po natin ng sa limitation natin sa principle natin ng autonomy ay provided hindi po siya contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, or public policy. So I have discussed that one by one as a specific examples as to when. I hope you could recall that, or you could watch the previous videos regarding that one, especially for the initial discussions when it comes to what is a contract. And then, yung principle po natin ng relativity. Ano pa yung relativity under 1311 as one of the characteristics as well of isang kontrata? So, as a general rule, contracts could take effect only between the parties, their assigns, and their heirs, diba? However, with respect to assignees or heirs, ang rule under relativity of contracts in 1311 is not applicable in certain circumstances, lalo na po kapag yung subject po ng ating rights and obligation arises from the contract ay it talks about a purely na personal na obligation, ano. So, here, under relativity, I'd like to emphasize as well, may mga exception tayo. Although, ang general rule nga ay ang contracts take effect only between the parties, their assigns and heirs, may mga pagkakataon yung parang in a third persons would have something to say about the contract and they would be honored. Ano? Ito yung sinasabi nating number one exception na yung sinasabing beneficial stipulation or stipulation pour a truly. This is under, ano nga ang provision natin ng stipulation pour a truly? That is under, I'm looking for the certain provision for stipulation for a truly. Stipulation for a truly, it means to say that meron siyang stipulation sa contract na in favor of a third person. Ano, pwede ba yon na ganun ang may stipulation? So, it is being provided under 1311, under relativity still. Pwede ba yun? Valid ba yun? Yes, valid yun. Pwede po tayong maglagay ng statement in favor of a third person provided that that third person must have communicated his acceptance to such a favor na ini-extend both of the contract by the contracting parties. Ano? So, importante yan para po siya he could have he could demand for the benefit of that stipulation. So, yun lang po ang condition nun with all other requisites na kailangan din yung ang stipulation must be part lang, hindi siya of the whole contract. And then, ang contracting parties dapat clearly and deliberately yung kino-confer doon sa third person na yun. Hindi lang siya mere incidental na benefit or interest. Ano? Tapos, aside from that, the favorable stipulation, hindi din siya conditioned or compensated by any kind or obligation or whatever. Ano, hindi yun po pwede. Tapos when it comes to the concept of relativity, another exception from the general rule that contracts takes effect only between the parties, their assigns and heirs is on point when a third person comes into possession of the object or the contract, creating real rights. So, ano ba yung mga under 1312 sinasabi dyan? Pwedeng magkakaroon ng effect yung possession ng third person of the object, especially if it is a contract creating real rights or it involves real properties. Ano? So, ang pinaka-perfect example nito ay yung pong kapag po ang isang real property ay naka-mortgage na. So at nagkakaroon po ng ang property ay nakasangla ngunit ay naibenta ni owner, diba, to some other person. So yun po ay exception dun po sa ating principle ng relativity. O di kaya man, kapag yung kontrata na yun ay being entered into in order to defraud a creditor, diba? So, let's say may contract of loan, it's because you don't want to have your properties be exhausted for the payment of loan. Ang ginagawa mo ay sikreto mo siyang ibinibenta. So, may habol dyan, ano, that creditor, may habol dun sa iyong property if it is in case man na it was being done because the debtor wants to the debtor wants to defraud you as the creditor, no? So ang creditor pwedeng niyang ipa-rescind ang contract, and then where the third person induces a contracting party to violate his contract under 1314, kung naalala ninyo, that person who caused the inducement na mag-violate sa contract could be liable for damages. Kung naalala ninyo, dun yung sa artista, diba, na sa aking example, na bibigyan mo siya ng mas mataas na bayad, tapos mas mataas na talent fee, ika nga, tapos para i-breach na yung kontrata sa kabila at lilipat sa iyo, ano. So yun ay exception to the concept na, or principle ng relativity ng contracts. Another thing is that Sa consensuality ng contracts, ang ating general rule under 1315, contracts are perfected by mere consent, and from the moment the parties are bound to the fulfillment of what has been expressly stipulated and to all the consequences which according to their nature may be in keeping with good faith and usage of law. So ibig sabihin nito ay once nga daw po na perfect ang contract by meeting of the minds of the parties, it is obligatory and implied upon the parties that they would fulfill in good faith their obligations under the contract. So, ang exception lang nito ay yung sa ating pong mga tinatawag na real contracts, such as a deposit, a pledge, na hindi siya perfected not until there has been a delivery of the object ng obligation. So, yun po. And when it comes to the essential requisites po ng ating contract, we know that as an essential requisite, we have consent, object, tsaka cause. Sa consent, dapat ay may concurrence ng offer tsaka acceptance. So, conformity of the parties as to the terms of the contract, and then the acceptance of the offer made by the offeror. So, importante yun. Tapos, meron din tayong mga specific na requisites when it comes how should be the offer made or proposal made, and then how is acceptance, or what should be the characteristics ng acceptance. Importante sa acceptance ay hindi po siya qualified, or else ay ang ating pong treatment doon ay siya lang po ay counter offer na kung saan nag-extinguish lang yung original offer, not unless there is an acceptance of the counter offer, para kaya saka lang po masasabi natin na nagkaroon po tayo ng acceptance na perfect din ang consequently na perfect ang contract. And then we have vices to consent that would affect the validity of the contract, diba? It would make the contract either void or voidable. So, yung mga vices natin, yung VIMPO na sinasabi natin, violence, ano pa ba yun? Intimidation, kung naalala ninyo. Fraud, tama ba? So, yun po yung ating pong mga violence, intimidation, mistake, fraud, at saka undue influence. Yun po yung ating mga vices ng consent. Now, let's go for object. Sa object, ano ba yung object under 1347? Ang sabi lang naman sa 1347, ano ba yung mga pupwedeng maging all things which are not outside the commerce of men ay pupwede naman, including future things. Maybe the object of the contract, and then all rights which are not intransmissible may also be the object of the contract. So, no contract may be entered into upon future inheritance except in cases expressly authorized by law. So, under this provision, masasabi natin, ano ba yung object? Ang object daw ay yung thing or right or service which could be the subject matter of the obligation arising from the contract. Ano yung requirements or requisites po para po matatawag natin siya ay pwedeng maging object ng contract? So, what must be present is that the thing must be within the commerce of men, that is, can legally or be subject of a commercial transaction. So, ang tanong lang, the question is, ano ba yung considered as outside the commerce of men? Kung ang general rule is that all things which are not outside commerce of men could be an object of the contract. Well, basically, yun po yung ating mga personal rights, yung ating mga status. Hindi natin yan, or yung mga kapasidad natin, o yung mga honorary titles, or yung ating mga distinctions because of holding a public office. Hindi natin yun po pwedeng ipagbili, right? So, hindi siya within the commerce of men. Ano pa ba? Yung ating mga political rights as individuals, yung ating right to vote, right to run for office, hindi natin yun po pwedeng ipagbili, di ba? And then, thus, it could not be an object of a contract. Ano pa ba? Yung mga properties which is a matter of ownership ni government, diba? Yung parts of the public dominion, yung mga roads, plazas, mga rivers, hindi yun, and then natural things which are part of the public domain, air, water, diba? Hindi natin yun po pwedeng appropriate personally. Ang tanong, under here, pwede bang ang future things ay magiging object ng contract? But before that, ano pa ang requirements ng things to become object of contract? It must not be impossible legally or physically. So, we have talked about this concept already. Physically capable of production, capable of existence, yun yung sinasabi pong legally possible. Po impossible, hindi po capable nga. Very self-explanatory. Well, legally possible, yun lang yung po pwede. Well, if it is against the law, if it's prohibited under the law, hindi po siya pwede maging object ng contract, such as illegal drugs, diba? So, yun po yung hindi po pwede. And then, it must be in existence or capable of coming into existence under articles under 1461, 1493, and 1495. So, in relation to my question a while ago, yung future things ba could become object of a contract? Basically, the answer to that is yes. The object of a contract lang kasi ang requirement is must be in existence or capable of coming into existence. At the time of the perfection of the contract. So, if it is not in existence, if there would be a possibility or potential na it would come into existence at some future time, then it could become an object of the contract. Let's say, for example, pwede mo siyang it could be made, it could be raised or acquired ng seller after the contract is being perfected, then it could be an object of the contract, diba? So, dapat lang ay meron siyang capability of existence. Let's say, for example, ano ba yung po pwede diyan? Yung, I would sell to you my 100% of my harvest and my cornfield. So, po pwede yun, diba? Kasi, determinable na yan. Although, hindi naman siya, talaga naman may plantation ka dyan ng corn. Capable siya of, into existence, although it's still on some future time. Ngayon, ang tanong, iba ang future things sa future inheritance. Ang future inheritance ba ay po pwedeng object ng contract? Kapag po, ang tatandaan lang natin, when the source of the property is still alive, it cannot be an object of the contract. Ang sabi lang ng 1347, except in cases where it is being provided for by law. So, example nito, ang iyong tatay, someone's father is still alive. And then, ang dami niyang ari-arian, well, you cannot sell the property you are expecting to inherit from your father, because you cannot sell that because such sale is sale of future inheritance. Not unless ang provisions under, except in cases provided for the law, 1630 provides na kapag daw ang future inheritance is sold without the specification of the properties, this would only be a sale of future hereditary rights na permissible siya under the law. Wala siyang specification as to the properties, then it would be a sale of future hereditary rights na allowed naman under the law. You put Salompas in your head. Go. Now, let's go now for na-discuss na ba lahat? So, hindi po pwedeng ang tanong din, ang general rule natin, all things, services may be object of the contract except those which are outside the commerce of men, mga intransmissible rights, yung na-mention ko kanina, And then, future inheritance ay hindi rin natin po pwedeng maging object ng contract, except in cases which is expressly authorized by law. Yun yung mga hereditary rights, And then the requirements in order that an inheritance could be an object of a contract. Ano ba yan? So, ang ating general rule ay all things of services may be the object of the contract except for future inheritance. Pero, may exception to the exception tayo dyan, except in cases expressly authorized by law. Ano ba yung requirements diyan? The succession has not yet been opened, the object of the contract forms part of the inheritance, Yung promisor has an expectancy of a right, yung hereditary right na sinasabi ko kanina, which is purely hereditary in nature, ay permissible yun under the law to be sold. At then, yun na nga, hindi po siya, wala pong specification as to the properties. Yun lamang po ang atin as exception, mga services na contrary to law, impossible things, and objects which are not possible for of determination. Hindi po siya syempre pwedeng magiging object ng contract. So, importante kasi ng ang ating pong object ng contract, it must be determinate or determinable without the need of a new contract between the parties. Ano bang example nito? Ang hindi kasi po pwede yung mag-e-execute pa tayo ng panibagong kontrata. Kapag po ay we enter into a contract when it comes to things na hindi po daw ang requirement, Ang requirement ay determinate or determinable naman. Kasi pag nagkakaroon daw ng panibagong execution ng new contract, masasabi natin na hindi talaga determinate or determinable yung object na iyon. Ano ba yung example nito? Yung example po nito, yung it must be determinate or determinable without the need of a new contract between the parties. Let's say, for example, I would sell to you one of my Carabaos. Ang dami-dami kong Carabao diyan, pero malinaw naman na sell yun of isang generic thing na pwede nating madedetermine doon sa one of my Carabaos. Pero kapag naman ang pag-uusapan natin na I will sell to you my agricultural land, pero napakadami mo naman natin na agricultural land, well, hindi yun po pwede. The contract would be void kasi importante na determinate po yung description. Kailangan yung mag-create ng panibagong contract regarding to the specific of alin man yung talagang agricultural land ang iyong isinisell out of my many na agricultural land. So, ano ba yung mga requirements po para po pwede ang services as object of a contract? So, importante that the service must be within the commerce of man. It must not be impossible physically or legally. And that it must be determinate or capable of being made. Determinate. Halos ganun din yan sa here, things as objects of contracts. What might not be the objects of contract? So, mentioned already those out. It's just the exact opposite of what I've mentioned as to the objects of contracts. Yung contrary to law, morals, good customs, public policy, public order, hindi po siya po pwedeng object ng contract. Indeterminable as to their kind, outside of the commerce of man, intransmissible rights, future inheritance except for those which are authorized by law. Here, there are basically two kinds of impossibility as mentioned. We have the physical impossibility as an object of a contract, and we have a legal impossibility. Physical further classified as absolute and relative. So, kapag physical impossible ang isang bagay to become an object of a contract or a service to become an object of a contract, in the very nature of things cannot exist, such as a monkey that talks or be performed. With particular references to services, the impossibility may be absolute or relative. Kapag absolute, talagang the act cannot be done in any case so that nobody can perform it. Relative naman when it arises from the physical circumstances of the case or the special conditions or qualifications of the obligor. Well, ang legal impossibility naman, it's when a thing or service is contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, and public policy. So, yun po ay malinaw sa atin. Let's discuss cause of contracts. Ano bang cause ng contracts under 1350? Ang sabi lang ng 1350 is that In onerous contract, the cost is understood to be for each contracting party the prestation or promise of thing or service by the other, and in remuneratory ones, the service or benefit which is remunerated, and in contracts of pure beneficence, the mere liberality of the benefactor. So, in all that, what is cost muna? Ano ba yung cost? Ang cost po ay, as a third element ng contract, it is the immediate or the direct or proximate reason, diba? Or purpose, which explains and justifies yung creation ng obligation through the will of the contracting party. So, civil, tawag nito, according to Manresa, this is an expert when it comes to civil law, cause is the essential or more proximate purpose which contracting parties have in view at the time of entering into the contract. Ang cause ng contract nga, nag-iiba pa, as I've mentioned, nag-iiba pa yan sa motive, nagbibenta ka ng isang property, it's because you wanted to have you wanted to sell basically your lot for a certain cost or consideration, diba? But your motive behind about selling a property is different. So, could be your motive na ay gusto mong, kaya ka nagbebenta ng property because you wanted to start a business. So, basically, it's a different thing from the basic na cost, So, ano pala ang difference between a cause and a motive, And then, if you have to distinguish as well, yung sa ating previous discussion, ano ba yung difference ng object with a cause? So, basically, ano muna ang requirements ng cause? So, basically daw, pag ang cause ay dapat siya existing at the time of the celebration of the contract, and it should be true and lawful or licit, And then, if we have to distinguish nga from a cause with an object, yung object natin ay tatandaan natin, yun yung starting point natin ng agreement, diba? Yun yung thing, right, or service, or yun yung subject matter natin ng obligation, arising from the contract. Ito yung mga lupa, animal, ano pa ba? Yun yung starting point natin. And then, ang object may be the same for both of the parties. So, the debtor creditor in a contract, pwedeng isang bagay lang yon. Well, cost is different with respect to each of the parties. So, sa perspective ng seller, yung kanyang object ay yung kanyang ibinibenta, diba? And then, the cost is the price.
Mommy?
Yes po.
My legs so hurt. I can run.
They don't run, just walk.
My it's broken.
Why is it broken?
I'm done. Now done.
Why is it broken? Why your foot is broken?
I can't slow.
They don't run fast, just slow.
To walk.
Yes.
Slowly walk far away.
I don't go far away.
You need bike?
No. Gusto mo lang yata i-bike. You want a bike? Okay. Intermission. So, what is the difference between cause and motive, Kapag cause, tatandaan natin, ito yung direct and the most proximate reason of the contract. Whereas, yung motibo, which is internal, something internal that we don't know, which is not apparent, which is not, hindi natin alam. So, it's an indirect or remote reason of entering into a contract. Ang cause naman, usually this is the objective or the very reason of the contract. And then, it's always the same for each of the contracting party. And its legality, nakaka-apekto yan sa existing sa validity ng contract. Or yung motibo, psychological lang siya or purely personal na reason if it could differs for each of the contracting parties. So, let's say for example, doon sa perspective ng contract ng sale. Very good, ate. Later na ha.
Say Zia.
Okay, very good, Zia. Later na po. Please.
Mommy, I want to hug you.
Come on. Oh, go now.
Mommy, have it you.
I'm okay. I'm having classes first and later on ka na. Okay?
There's fried chicken.
There is? Oh, you eat now there. Come on, go now. And then for motive, it differs to each of the contracting parties. So it means to say that kung yan ay contract of sale ha, or sale nga na contract, sa part ng buyer nga, iba yung kanyang dahilan or motibo kung bakit siya nagbebenta. At dun din naman sa part ng seller, iba yung motibo din niya kung bakit siya bumibili, diba? Dun sa property ng buyer, pagpapalagay kung yun ay property. Sa motibo, its legality does not affect the existence of the validity of the contract. However, may mga pagkakataon na yung motive daw, it could become a cause when it predetermines the purpose of the contract. So, sinasabi ko nga example dito, yung contract or pagpapalagay ang contract ay donation, ano? So, ibig sabihin nito, as an example, there is a married man. He's trying to donate a property doon sa single woman na gusto niya gusto niyang ibahay, ano. So, giving the house and lot, pagpapalagay, ano, with liberality. So, precondition doon yung kanyang pagbibigay na dapat ay magko-cohabit. So, by that, masasabi natin na yung motive talaga niya ay para makuhabit. It becomes a cause there, ano, when it predetermines the purpose of why entering into a contract, ano, or why entering into a donation. So, yun. 1351. So, tatandaan natin, ang motive does not affect as a general rule to the validity of the contract, not unless except when the motive of a debtor in alienating the property is to defraud his creditor. Yung alienation ay rescissible. So, here, yun na nga I have mentioned this one already previously, as when a motive of a person in giving his consent is to avoid a threatened injury in case of intimidation, the contract is voidable. So, when motive of a person induced him to act on the basis of fraud or misrepresentation by other party, then the contract is likewise voidable. Ano naman yung magiging effect kapag po yung may defect on the causes? Ano? So, defective causes. Ano yung mga defective causes? Possibility is meron tayong lack of cause or absence ng cause. Ano? Meron din tayong unlawful cause or illegal yung cause. O di kaya may mga pagkakataon na false ang cause. O di kaya man ay inadequate yung price or cost. Ano yung magiging effect nun? So, let's start with absence of cause and unlawful cause. Dito, ang effect niya, it produces no effect whatsoever. So, the contract really, because here ha, the contract confers no right and produces no legal effect on the parties. Kasi, when it comes to lack of cause, totally, there is a lack or absence of cause. So, hindi po natin masasabi na hindi po essential requisite ang cause. So, the absence of which is, hindi po masasabi natin na perfect ang contract. So, contracts without cause or with unlawful cause produces no effect whatever. The cause is unlawful if it is contrary to law, morals, good customs, public order, public policy. We know this one. How about falsity ng cause? Ano? So, ano ba yung false cause in the contract? Well, ang effect niya, magiging void ang contract if no other true and lawful cause. So, the statement of a false cause in contract shall render them voids if it should not be proved that they're founded upon another cause which is true and unlawful. So, basically, ano ba yung sinasabi dito sa meron siyang stated cause but it is not true. Ang effect niyan ay the contract would be void, ano. And then 1355, inadequacy ng cause or lesion, ano. Except in cases specified by law, lesion or inadequacy of cause shall not invalidate the contract unless there has been fraud, mistake, or undue influence. And aside from that, when the parties really intend, yung may simulation tayo ng contract, hindi siya void. Kasama yung dito sa atin pong inadequacy ng price. Yung tipong, when the parties intended really a donation or some other contract, diba? Yun yung tipong inadequate nga yung sasabihin ay binili ng certain price pero sobra namang liit. Well, in fact, nagkakaroon na ng donation. Valid pa din siya, pero yung treatment natin doon sa inadequacy ng price ay donation.